Hey everybody, it's your old pal Mike. I hope you're happy, healthy, and safe, and welcome back to the first On the Bench episode in like 16 years. It's been forever since I did one of these, but I'm doing one because I've got a very special, very cool guitar in my hands, and I couldn't be more excited about it. And so when I'm excited about something, I like to come tell you about it. And hopefully you like to watch and learn about it. What I've got in my hands is a 1969 nice Fender Maverick, and what an incredible guitar this is. These are an overlooked oddball from the Fender catalog, something that you might not even know about, and certainly something that you've probably never seen in person, because these things are so wildly rare. The reason that these are so rare is that this was Fender's way of using up leftover parts from the, the venerable Electric 12. If you look at this body, looks kind of like an Electric 12, same offset body, but with a few pieces lobbed off, but still utilizing the 12 pickups, still utilizing the rotary switch, and still utilizing that goofy headstock shaped like a hockey stick. And it is one of my favorite goofy ass instruments in the entire world. And I have to be honest with you, I have loved this from afar for ages, but this is literally my very first time having one in my hands. I've owned my Electric 12 for a few years. I've worked on many Electric 12s over the years, and I've got Curtis Novak 12 pickups in my weird charcoal frost Jaguar, but one of these has been a dream, and now this dream has come true. So I am really excited to show this off a little bit. Now the reason I have this in my hands today is because I am filming some video content with Mike and Mike's Guitar Bar based on this instrument and based on the 12, and so I have this policy where I don't like surprises, so I like to bring things home and just give them a full once-over so that I know that they're in tip-top performing shape. And more often than not, they are, because the folks who work at the shop, we got Brad, we got Garrett, we got Matt, we got Ben, all of the people in our repair shop are geniuses. With all that out of the way, I will say this thing is playing mighty fine, especially now that I've given it my full once-over and approval, up to my demanding standards. And I'm gonna tell you more about this instrument, what makes it cool and special throughout the video. But to get it to this point, I had to do a little bit of work. So let's go to the bench and I'll take you on a tour of everything that I did to make this guitar play its best. All right, so the plan for today is to address a few issues about this Maverick. Number one, just needs a good basic setup. Plays a little bit squirrely in the upper registers on the high strings, not quite comfortable. Might require a shim, might not. We'll see. I would also like to get this bridge rocking properly. I think it may be taped on one side or there's something in there preventing the bass side from wiggling with the vibrato. That's another issue. Also, the G string constantly goes sharp when you use the vibrato, and that's not good. Everything else seems to be zeroing out more or less okay, but the G string is not doing that, and I think the reason for that is the string tree itself. It might be sharp, it might be catching. We're going to use some abrasive cord up here, as well as some judicious lubrication to improve that. But otherwise, this Maverick is wonderful, and this is actually, I think this may in fact be my very first experience with a real one of these, and I have always loved this model from afar. If you don't know, these are made from leftover Electric 12 bodies, cut up in the factory, populated with 12 electronics, and then a Mustang bridge and vibrato, and they're wonderful six strings. You know that I love Electric 12 pickups on six string, especially from my Jaguar that I have. You're well familiar with that. But I really can't tell you how good this guitar sounds, so I'm excited to play it for you later on in this video. But in any case, let's get into it. First thing I'm going to do is remove these strings. Strings aren't terrible, but when I'm doing something like this, I'd rather just start with a fresh set. The tuners are turning just fine. I don't think they need any lubrication themselves. Seem to be doing their jobs, so I'm happy with that. Clip these strings. These are D'Addario, I believe 1149, which is a fine gauge for a Mustang style bridge and vibrato. Usually works a treat. but we're just having some issues on this one. And I think the first thing I'm going to do once I've got the strings off is I'm going to, some catching in that nut. I'm going to have to widen those slots just a little bit. As I was saying, I think the first thing I'm going to do is remove this string tree and just find out what's going on as far as, catching or burrs or, sharp edges that might be wreaking havoc on tuning stability. Now, let me just tilt this forward, get my strings through the back. You may also be familiar with this from the recent, I believe, the Alternate Reality series. Fender did a reissue of, well, what they call it a reissue, I guess. It's weird, though. I really don't get what Fender does sometimes when they release a version of an old guitar from their catalog that they've never properly reissued. Fender has never done a Maverick or custom proper. Yeah, no tape. Weird, it's just not rocking. Maybe I'll clean those out. That reissue was such a strange guitar to me because when they brought out the AR-12s, immediately I got excited. I was like, oh, maybe there's a Maverick coming. They can do that now. They have the bodies, they have the necks. They can make this happen. And my contacts at Fender hipped me to the fact that they were cutting up Maverick bodies. I was so excited. I was going to be first in line for that. But then they came out, they announced them, and they had a Bigsby and a Tune-o-matic, which I don't want on a Maverick, and they didn't have the pickups, which are worth the price of admission. This is the whole thing. I get that the Alternate Reality series is supposed to be like, oh, what if? But it was so disappointing because they've never properly reissued these, and they had the parts. The new Alternate Reality 12s were okay guitars, I guess. I found the pickups to be way too hot for a 12-string. There was no jangle or sparkle to them. However, I always thought that those pickups would sound incredible on a 6-string, and then they brought out a 6-string version and didn't use the pickups, and I'm just ranting, but that was so weird and disappointing for me. So anyway, rant over. Just a weird decision. That made me very sad because it means we probably won't see a proper Maverick reissue. I believe those guitars are still available new from some shops that never sold them, which is also sad because it's such an interesting piece of Fender's history, and it makes me sad to see that it's not being loved the way it deserves. Oh wow, underneath the string tree you can see the original color of the finish has not been exposed to light at all. Very, very much yellower than the rest of the headstock. Oh, and dig that decal. Someone clearly didn't like the Fender name at some point, but the Maverick is mostly intact, and that's just a wonderful font. I love seeing this stuff. Alright, so just to find out what's going on here with the string tree, you can see there's only 3 holes on this as opposed to the, 6, I believe, on a Fender 12. So this is a fine string tree, nothing wrong with it, but from age you can see if I can get it here on the video. Yeah, you can see some deep grooves worn by string pressure. Yeah, that may indeed be what's causing my tuning issues that I'm having. Not ideal, but I plan to use some abrasive cord to fix that. So why don't I get to that first? But oh yeah, that is clearly working. I might detach this again to show you what the after result is. But anything that you can do to ensure that there is a smooth surface for your strings to travel on will improve tuning stability. Now I see a lot of people, I know I've talked about this before, ragging on string trees like they're, the worst, the most devilish thing ever invented and that they're bad for tuning stability, and that's false. That's absolutely false. A string tree alone will not cause tuning problems. A string tree that is not cared for, that is not cleaned, that is not that is not replaced if it becomes completely rusty, yeah, that's going to cause some tuning issues. But yeah, there's a thread on the gear page last week that I was reading that was just all malicious slander about string trees. You don't need them and they're bad. Can't believe Fender uses them. Don't need them on a Gibson. And that's just a simplistic view of the string tree. The string tree is doing a very important job on a flat headstock surface with no tilt back. and it's keeping your strings in place, and that's all it does. A string tree is your best friend, and friends, to tell you the truth, all of my favorite guitars that do not go out of tune when I use the vibrato have string trees. So all it takes is just a little upkeep, get some abrasive cord for when it starts to look dirty. You can resurface the bottom of it. Hell, I tout the virtue of Burt's Bees chapstick for tuning stability. We're using that in the nut slots and on the bridge saddles. And use some of that on your string trees too. You'll be happy. It'll work. I promise. But don't needlessly slander the beautiful, the serene, the unassuming string tree. Please. Oh, yeah. How you liking the return of On the Bench, friends? Is this what you like? Is this what you want? YouTube? Alright. I've made quite a lot of dust. I'm going to take this back off and show you what I did. Okay, here's the string tree after the abrasive cord, and it looks much better. Let me zoom in here. Can you see this grooveless wonder? Look how much better this is. That right there is a smooth surface for your string to glide over, and it's going to be further smoothed by lubrication that we're going to put in there. But yeah, that is a much, much nicer surface. No grooves for the string to get caught in. Completely smooth entry and exit. So much better. This is going to be wonderful. I'm very excited to pop this back on. You know, I'm also going to abrasive cord these Mustang saddle slots because boy are they rusty. Not the worst Mustang bridge I've seen ever. But you can see there's a little corrosion where the strings touch, and I don't want that at all. May as well clean the neck while I have it. May as well take it off even. See what's going on in the neck pocket, shall we? Oh, remember how I said before that these were all electric 12 bodies that were cut up? Well, you can see evidence of this. If you look on the back here, I'm not sure if I can get it in the camera. There is a route that's filled in on the back of these where the electric 12 string through plate was mounted. So that's filled in. The entire back is oversprayed black on these instead of sunburst. And yeah, you can, in the right light, you can see that oval. It's so fun. These are such weird guitars. I love this. Oh, and good. We do have one shim here, so that's good. I'm going to remove it though and get it straightened out so that it's in the pocket squarely and not leaning to one side. That feels like that can sometimes cause problems. So I'm just gonna use my razor to gently get underneath it. I mean, it may be bonded to the finish. No, it came right out. Just a regular old fiberboard shim, what they were using back in the day. They're fine. You know, we could go full pocket, but I will leave that up to whoever ends up owning this down the line, because this is such a cool guitar. They deserve to make that choice, I'm sure. But yeah, original finish, sunburst in the neck pocket. This is so beautiful. Sort of meatball tort guard. This is definitely that era of tort that's a lot less swirly and more compact and darker red, which is why we call this meatball. Yeah, this is such a fun guitar. I am tickled to be able to work on this today. Friends, I'm beside myself with joy. All right, let's set the body aside. Let's clean this neck up a little bit, and we'll get to the body stuff in a bit. Now, my impulse here is to tell you all about the history of the Fender Maverick Custom. However, I'm refraining from that because that's the whole point of the video we're filming tomorrow at Mike and Mike's. So I don't want to spoil things. I don't want to repeat anything. And I would like this to be a synergistic entry into the Maverick Custom front. So this is to be considered a supplemental to the Mike and Mike's video. Educational, I hope, still, but you know, not in place of. And also the other mic is just a repository of all the deepest gear knowledge. I could not best him in a match of guitar-based wit, so I'll just leave it to him. You know, personally, I don't go for blocks and binding. I like the look, but anytime Fender added binding to a neck, the shape changes a little bit and it becomes a little weird for me to play. So it's not my favorite feature. Visually, I like it a lot. As I said before, I am extraordinarily privileged to be able to work on these very good guitars, and I'm also privileged in the fact that I'm back working for the shop after all these years. The folks who work at the shop, Brad and Garrett and Matt and Ben, these people are repair geniuses. I would trust them with my life. I've actually got a few repairs in with them right now, things that I know I can't get to or don't have the skill to do, like replacing a truss rod on a bum American Pro neck. That looks really good. So yeah, I tend to bring things home before shoot dates to make sure that I'm totally familiar with them and that everything is working as it should. So as we move through our favorite subjects and store stock, yeah, you might see some more familiar faces on the channel. I usually don't talk about price on the channel, but boy oh boy, these things sure are expensive. Boy! Like I said, I don't really get on with blocks and binding or any bound Fender neck just because of the shape, the neck shape, but hey, this is pretty fun. This is a pretty fun shape. It's very thin. It's got some shoulder on it, but not so much that it feels really strange to hold. Nice smooth poly finish too. Really just, yeah, just a wonderful instrument. All right. Pop this neck back on, see what we're working with now that it's all cleaned up. Now, ready to remove the Mustang plate. See what's going on there. Ooh, got a little schmutz on the fingerboard. Yep, that's about where I would have these. Yeah, okay, yeah. They're further proof, as if it were needed, that these are leftover Electric 12 bodies, is that this route for the Electric 12 bridge is filled in. This stuff is so funny. I love seeing this stuff up close. It's just beautiful to me. What a weird idea to repurpose these guitars. So the bottom rung of these legs means a little less spring tension, and if you move the springs up to this one, you get a little bit more because the spring has to travel further from its terminus to the post under string tension. So I'm trying to decide with 11 to 49 if I want that extra bit of spring tension to counteract the strings. It's mostly coming back into tune. Yeah, we're going to totally unscrew these posts. This is how the Mustang Cigar mechanism is secured, by the way, just in case you were never aware. Yeah, all it takes is an appropriately sized Allen key. And sadly, these from Ernie Ball are not marked, so I can't tell you exactly what size I'm using right now. Ooh, yeah, you're a little crispy from corrosion, ain't you, bud? But yeah, that's how the Mustang vibrato is secured. It's two posts screwed into a cigar, which is what we all call this string retainer bar. I don't want to say all, some people surely don't do that because it's kind of goofy. But yeah, that's what that is. And then the posts are attached to the screws. So no big deal there, but my goodness is this dirty. I am definitely gonna do some cleaning and filing real quick. Just a giant worn in burr edge on this hole, on both of them actually, and I don't want that to be the case. I don't want it to chance catching on that. All right, that's much better. A little bit of gentle filing. I may just clean that up real quick because it's super dirty. I've touched on the importance of cleaning and lubrication of Mustang vibratos in the Jagstang video I did way back when. And those things assuredly are still paramount when you're trying to get your Mustang vibrato working the way you think it should. Because they should be really fun to use. They should go right back into tune. Many times they don't, either from a poor setup or poor maintenance. And that goes triple for Fender factory performance. Sometimes Fender just does not, well, sometimes, let's be real. Almost every time Fender does not go to the trouble of setting them up correctly. Which is sad because it further contributes to the notion that Mustangs don't stay in tune. The same thing, whoops, was true for Jazzmasters and Jaguars until all of us figured out what Leo Fender was actually going for with those designs. So if you have a Mustang, it's giving you grief, don't give up on it. Let's take care of that stuff on the body too. That's kind of gross, I think. Yeah, there's quite a lot of rust in play here. Oh, yeah, that comes up immediately. Yeah, oh, look at my rag. Ooh. So what I'm going to use is Super Lube on the place, little knife edge where the plate and the post meet, just to make sure that there's no friction. How does this work? How does this stupid thing work? Just putting it right on there. Now, I'm not enjoying the Dunlop Super Lube on strings. It's a little thick and it feels like it sticks, and I'm not a fan of that. However, for a part like this, it might actually be perfect because it stays in place. So I'm gonna do some on the top too, I think. Let's put the cigar back on. Yeah. I may follow that loop up with something else a little bit nicer. Last thing I want to do, I want to get a pipe cleaner and clear out the thimbles. Okay, pipe cleaner. I'm pretty sure Fender was using 250s for this model, but let's find out for certain. And me being me, I used 1 meg on my 12 loaded Jaguar because I wanted the most out of it. And no, this is 1 meg. Very interesting. So these are 1 meg. Well, are 12s 250s? Is mine just really dark? Well, I don't know. Let's find out. Oh no, 1 meg. Wow. Okay. I thought this whole time the 12s used 250s, but no. Look at that. Clearly, I don't know everything. I'm actually not surprised that I don't know what pots go in electric 12s and Mavericks, because I truly never believed I would own a 12 string. But here I am, shocked, just as the rest of you are, that I have use for it, and that my buddy Brian from Fart Barf, amazing band, let me buy his. Wow, so 1 megs, that's very cool. So I'm just gonna get the gunk out. Get the gunk out. Get the gunk out. Get that gunk. Get that gunk out. Get the gunk out. All right, we degunked. I think all that's left, truly, put some new strings on. You're ready. We're gonna put some strings on, and then we're gonna set the height of the cigar properly. And we've got some D'Addarios here. Oh, traditionally, I would just string this from E to E. And there's no rhyme or reason to what I'm doing right now. The A was just the first string that I grabbed, so that's what I installed first. There's no secret magic here in play. That's just me being a little lazy. We're gonna go 1.5 or 1 3/4 tuners away from the one that I'm stringing currently. That is the trick to a Maverick headstock. If you have one of your own and you're always struggling to figure out how much string to wind around the post, that will give you the appropriate amount every time. Look out for my new hit single on Interscope Records. Everybody is so kind about the things that I play on this channel that are almost always completely made up on the spot. And that makes me think, maybe there's something to this old music idea. I just miss being in a band. Being in a band is the best. Oop, I almost didn't lubricate that hole. I gotta lube that hole up. Please don't comment on that. You sickos. Let me do that. Let me do that while I'm still here, but it seems to be working a lot better. And to lube up the string tree, I'm going to apply a little bit of Burt's Bees to the strings themselves, because the strings are my friends and are going to aid in this endeavor. You just want a nice glob of the stuff on the inside of that hole. So that the strings have something to rub against that's not metal on metal. Just a little encouragement for them to float right back into tune. I am so privileged to be able to work on you. You are beautiful. You are absolutely beautiful. Such a weird freak in the Fender lineup, but no less deserving of love and respect. If I had the money for yet another cool guitar, I would totally buy this. This is a fun instrument. Now does the vibrato one work? Let's see. Yes, a lot better. Gotta stretch the strings, gotta get this height worked out, but I think we are golden. And I keep getting questions about the Mustang, so I'm gonna answer one of those right now as I adjust this height. The height of the Cigar, in some ways, governs the tension of the vibrato, the feel of it. So the higher you have the Cigar, that means the more forward it will lean, which contributes to poor tuning stability because the unit can't zero out the way that it desires to. So I recommend having this set kind of low. That's feeling pretty good. What I will do is clean up these nut slots finally, and then call it good, I think. Stretch those strings. Oh yeah, just a little dirty. No big deal. We will be putting in some more of that good Burt's Bees. Burt's Bees, I'm not sponsored by because I don't think they know who I am. Same with Loctite. But Burt's Bees is, I think, the best guitar lubricant ever created. Ooh, yeah, you're a little tight. Yep. Hope you can see that, what I'm doing. Probably you can't. we'll have another camera set up next time so you can see more clearly what I'm doing up here toward the headstock. But you've seen me do it before, so I'm not super worried about it at this particular moment. Just opening slot. Now you can see that because of the way that the Maverick string tree is drilled, the D and G strings pinch in at a very extreme angle and then pinch out toward their tuners at a very extreme angle, and that's not ideal. I will admit that freely. So I'm angling the nut slot just a little bit on the back so that the string flows beautifully from its string slot to that very, very sharp, weird angle put in place by the string tree. So that should help as well. Didn't stick the landing. Like I said, that took a little bit of work, but the guitar was already pretty much there to begin with. It just needed a new set of strings, some lubrication, correction of the nut slots, and, you know, a little bit of fiddling with the bridge to make it play its best. So, without further ado, let's hear these sounds, shall we? Starting with the neck. That's not what I usually play. I usually play... How dare I break from tradition? Middle. Bridge. And finally, out of phase. You really hear that honky out of phase thing with that position. It is wonderful. That kind of, it's an open vocal kind of awe sound, little honky. It's a weird sound and not one that I would probably go for all the time, but having it is a blast. So that's a fun feature. Let's play it a little bit. Hear what it sounds like with some pedals, as I am wont to do, and we'll also compare with the Novaks. That's good. Let's compare my humbucking Novaks with the originals. What do they sound like? What does that sound like? This thing needs a setup really badly, so don't hold that against me. I just haven't gotten around to it because I haven't used it in a while. A little bit more aggressive, but that's because of the fat. Yes, I really do like these Novaks. I will say, I might be a little bit of a vintage snob at times. I kind of prefer original hardware when I can, original pickups when I can. But just in this AB, this back and forth, the Novak bridge pickup, it really does it for me. Hands off once again to Curtis for making fantastic pickups that can often best the originals. But yeah, this XII-Fat has just a little bit more power than the original 69 pickup. Haven't played the neck to compare. I'm sure it's the same story, but when I had Curtis wind these for me, I asked for two things. I wanted them to be humbucking so that I had a silent Z-coil experience, but then I also asked him to make sure that bridge pickup sounded like a big Telecaster, and he nailed it. That sounded wonderful. Let's hear what the neck sounds like with a little bit of gain, and then we'll wrap this up. Yeah, Curtis. Yes! So this video's already gone on long enough. I think we got a good idea of what the Maverick can do and what the Curtis Novak XII-Fat and XII-V can do. Excellent pickups all. And now I'm thinking that I also might either need a serious position on this or I should go for an out of phase. I don't know. Could be fun. In any case, I appreciate you watching this video, for coming back to the channel again and again, for liking, sharing, commenting, for subscribing, for doing all that good stuff that YouTube says I have to, or else nobody sees my stuff. It's great to have you. It's great to be back, to be making fun things again. And quick shout out to my supporters on Patreon. Y'all give me life and love and lemonade, and I appreciate you deeply. If you are interested in supporting the channel, link in the description down below. But in any case, I hope you're taking care of yourselves and each other, and we'll see you in the next video.